But it's time now for my first guest. Now, she was wonderfully neurotic as the assistant Emily with Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. Next, she worked with Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts, and she's just finished filming with Sir Anthony Hopkins. She's busy, and not bad for someone who never wanted to be an actress. She's now getting rave reviews for her new film, The Young Victoria. Will you please welcome Her Royal Highness, Miss Emily Blunt! What is this craze, Emily, all of a sudden with these huge skyscraper heels?
I know, but I thought, because I met you backstage, and I thought, God, you're huge, so I thought I'd put them on and give you a run for your money.
How tall are you without them?
5'7".
And what are you in? About 6'9".
I could play basketball.
How was the premiere last night?
It was great, but cold.
Do you know,
so cold.
seriously, I saw you on the news, I was watching it, and I felt for you because you stood there, all smiles, being really charming.
You have to.
Yeah, but you had like 2 tea bags and a nettle on, and I thought she's going to die of cold, of exposure, because it was such
really
a cold
cold.
evening last
I had
night.
hand warmers that were useless, and I had this dress with pockets, so I had one hand in the pocket, bit of Alanis, and then I had literally this arm was hanging out, and then I realised my arm had gone dead, so when I shook someone's hand it was like
Do you like these things, premieres and all that?
I like it once you're inside.
Yeah.
It is a bit overwhelming out
Isn't
there.
it? When you get out the car and you think, oh, the
and
crowds.
everyone's like, oh, I hate her dress, and you know.
And then you get snide remarks in those magazines with a big cross against it and all
or
that.
who wore it better? Those are awful.
Pathetic, isn't it? Absolutely pathetic. Do you like watching yourself? I mean, what's it like watching yourself on the big screen?
It's very strange. I mean, I think it's probably a good thing to watch a film a few times, because the first time you're like, oh, well, it's awful, and then after a while you can kind of enjoy the film. But actors who say they never watch themselves are lying. We all watch ourselves.
Do you think that's true? They all watch themselves?
I think so. Yeah. I think everyone has watched something they've done.
I've watched one of this show, because I'm not an actor, seriously. And I noticed I was holding my wrist. I thought, I've got to stop this.
What was that thing on Addams Family?
That was how I'd think, seriously. Come on, thing. It's like my hand had fallen off and I was sort of, looked like I'd cut a vein. So I've stopped doing that
I
now.
do a lot of that, wrist massaging. I don't know why. Yeah, weird.
I have to say, the film's a cracker.
Thank you.
You're brilliant in it.
Oh,
and do you know why I like your portrayal of Victoria, because you play a... She's not arrogant, she's very self-assured.
Oh, okay, cool.
And considering the background she had, because she had a lousy childhood, didn't she, really?
She had a horribly lonely childhood. I mean, no friends. She had to sleep in the same room as her mum until she was 18.
And she couldn't go downstairs without somebody holding her hand.
I mean, it was a very stifling existence, so I'm very surprised she had the strength to become queen in the way she did.
And her best friends were dolls. I know a few people like that, believe me. No, but she did that. She had no playmates, did she?
None at all.
She was just this young girl.
So I think she lived very much in her head, and she found out when she was about 11 that she was going to be queen, and she cried all night, and then said to her nurse the next day, she said, I will be good. So at the age of 11, I think she was just waiting till that day.
I mean, how do you feel about, having played her now? What do you think of Queen Victoria?
Well, I just fell in love with her when I started to read about her, and I mean, when I heard about this project about Queen Victoria, I was like, oh, she's old and sour-faced and
little and dumpy with a tea towel on her head.
And they want me to do it. How rude.
Yeah.
But,
well, that's what I saw, and I thought, if only Queen Victoria was ever this beautiful. I mean, really. Because when you come out in the ball gown with all the flowers in the hair, you think, God, she looks fantastic. But it's what I was saying before. She had 9 children, Victoria, didn't she?
Yeah,
so she wasn't sexually repressed at all.
Not at all.
No. What are you laughing at?
It's true.
But she wasn't 9 kids, and... well, it's tea time, otherwise I'd say more. But
we can't go anymore. She was a goer.
She was. Oh no, she was a game girl, believe you me, wasn't she?
She was a game girl, yeah.
And Albert in the movie, he's not bad either.
Isn't he great?
Yeah.
Have you got a picture of him?
Have we got Albert?
Oh, there he is, Rupert.
Yeah.
Is that from last night?
Is it? Well, he's all smiles if it was.
He is. Yeah.
I believe he had a tricky audition, didn't he?
He seems to think he was like Last Chance Harvey, who came in and at the very last minute. But no, he just sailed through it in my eyes. I mean, he was the only person to play Albert. He was so brilliant. He has that kind of natural confidence and dignity, and so it was important to find that in the character, someone who wasn't going to be emasculated by her.
And the two of you together work beautifully together.
Thank you.
Especially as you see the romance starting to develop.
We actually hated each other.
Oh, I saw that upstage. And did you like the costumes?
Not so much.
was
I mean,
gonna
to
say-
look at, they are incredible, beautiful, but the corset is hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two people sort of lacing you in, and it's tough.
And then there's all the bloomers and all that nonsense.
It wasn't attractive underwear.
No, I mean, I've always, you know, it's a terrible thing to think, but when I watch these things, I think, how did they go to the loo? Well, go on,
Well, I had to do it. Oh, it's tea time again, that's not...
How did you get in the cubicle? You know, in this huge
It
crimmy?
was really hard. It was really hard work. I mean, I don't want to go into details, but I was doing the
Really?
coronation scene, and it was really tough. There was a lot of dress there.
There's tons of... Were people stepping on your train?
All the time. Constant whiplash, like...
Didn't you, like, just
Yeah.
want to turn around and go, you stand on my train
There
one more time,
there was
pal?
one day when it did really irritate me, but because I think it was just one of those days and everyone was doing it, and everyone's so nice when they do, oh, sorry, you know, so if you swing a punch, it would be out of line.
And you should have keep away from me. Look, let's have a look there, please. We have a clip. This is it, the young Victoria.
I will tell you what you thought. You thought that I was a woman! To be petted and passed over and ignored.
Would it were so simple, then we might avoid more scandals of your making.
Have you lost your mind?
Do you wonder at it? Less than 3 years on the throne, and you and your precious Melbourne have pushed this monarchy to the brink of an abyss.
I've told you before, and I will tell you again, you are my husband here, and that is all.
And that is quite enough, believe me!
I will not have my role usurped. I wear the crown, and if there are mistakes, they will be my mistakes, and no one else will make them. No one, not even you.
That calms, that calms. I tell you something, folks. Go and see this film. It's the most beautifully shot movie, and the locations
Were beautiful, yeah.
just stunning,
It
weren't
was.
they?
It was a very transporting film to be a part of. You know, you walk in and there were Van Dycks on the wall and priceless furniture. I mean, it was a wonderfully atmospheric
Yeah.
set to be a part of.
Did you ever get a sensation, you know, that you step back in time? You know, when you're in all the costume and the set and the
Well,
location?
yeah, but then you stand out and there's craft service with cheeseburgers, so... and I have Ugg boots on under my skirt, so...
Oh, to keep warm?
Yeah.
But Albert, they were put together, weren't they? He was chosen for us.
It was an
yeah.
unlikely, you know, loving marriage because it was an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was that actually neither of them wanted to be in that position.
Yeah.
And both of them had been given a sort of script to say when it came to the other person. And as soon as they dropped the script and everything that they'd been manipulated into thinking that they had to say and were very real with each other, that was when they really, it was a meeting of souls.
And she went to pieces, didn't she, when he died? You know, completely.
She
I
was, yeah.
I never knew there was an assassination attempt on her either.
There were a couple, actually.
You know, and he
There were a
stepped
couple.
in there and
He
took the
did.
bullets.
He did. Don't ruin it.
He doesn't die. No, that's history. Well, but it's Victoria's father, because I went and Googled him, and I thought, because he's, what a monster he was.
He was a monster,
Yeah, he was.
and she was in reverence of him,
Yeah.
but he died when she was very young, and so she was always looking for that father figure, but he was an absolutely
I mean,
brutal
what was he?
man.
He was the governor of Gibraltar.
Yeah.
And he caused a mutiny because of his brutality.
Brutality and
cruelty
this
to the
terrible
troops.
punishment that
Yeah.
he put upon on the troops.
So what was in the dog didn't come out in the pup there with Victoria, did it? Because she was quite she seems quite a decent soul.
I think she is, and actually
Yeah.
that phrase, "we are not amused," comes from later on in her life. They were having a big dinner and all the politicians were there, and they were making fun of a soldier who'd just come back from war and his leg had been amputated, and they were all laughing, and she just cut through it and said, "We are not amused," in his defence.
Yeah.
So it actually came from a very good place.
And she had quite a social conscience as well, didn't she?
Very much, yeah. I think
she-
her and Albert were responsible for creating Victoriana. I
Yeah,
mean,
and all the
together,
housing
and all
and
the
all that.
social reform and
Yeah.
the architecture that he came forward with to provide more housing, more jobs, and
She sort of went up my estimation, you know,
Good.
after watching the film. She really did, because up
Good.
till now we thought it's her fault that we can't do half these things. You know what I mean? We have to cut. And I watched that and I thought, actually, I felt great warmth for it.
yeah. Well, I hope that's what people feel.
Yeah.
I really do.
I was terrified of you in The Devil Wears Prada.
Good. That's what we want.
Did you see that mean? Absolutely. I thought if I worked there, I'd give my notice in now and get my people
So
to
would
buy
I,
it.
yeah.
But look, congratulations
Thank
with the
you.
movie. It's going to be,
Thanks.
well, it is a huge hit.
Thank
and it
you.
deserves to be. And it's lovely to see you
You
again.
too.
And
Thanks
you.
for having
Ladies
me.
and gentlemen, please, Emily Blunt. Come on, that's it. Have you seen this? You've got to do Emily. Make Victoria look like a goblin.
I can sit on that chair.
yeah, but we've got to rescue you.